It's early in the morning. I'm recording this early in the morning, so let's do this. What's up, Net Soldiers? I'm Net Alliance. Welcome again to another ASKNET. If you wish to be part of the next ASKNET, make sure to leave your questions in the comments below. And if I use that question in the future video, then I will give you a shout out. And of course, for more Star Wars content, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more good, juicy stuff. Now, with that said, let's jump right into the questions. Like I said, I'm pretty tired, so I'll try my best to answer these as best as I can. Our first question is from Alina, and she says, how did you come up with your channel name? Okay, so this is a good question. I get this a lot, actually. Some of my older subs, they know about this already, but my newer subs don't. So I'll explain it to you guys. So Net Alliance originally meant news, entertainment, and tech. My channel, when I first made it, was kind of just like a everything channel. I did tech reviews, I talked about movies, I gave news on different type of stuff. I even kind of dipped into politics here and there. And then one day I made a Star Wars video and people really liked it and they wanted to see more, so I made another one, another one, another one, and eventually I just realized, hey, I'll just be a Star Wars channel. You know, I love Star Wars, as you guys can see. You know, by the way, I haven't gotten fan mail in a while, guys, so make sure to send me your fan mail on Twitter. You might make it on the wall. So yeah, news, entertainment, and tech. That's what NET stands for, but now it's not really all that. It's more just entertainment factor, but I mean, people just call me Net, and so I just kind of went with it, and that's what my nickname online is now, so yeah. Next question is from LineLink, and he says, when does the ranking come out? Now, he's talking about my Star Wars ranking. That actually already came out. I'll leave a link in the description below, as well on the top of the screen, so if you guys want to check it out. It's already got over 400,000 views, so it's a pretty popular video, so I definitely recommend checking it out if you want to compare my opinions to your opinions. Next question is from Phantom Destroyer, who says, Net Alliance, how do you feel about no lightsaber fights in The Last Jedi? I personally feel a little bit let down. I was really looking forward to the confrontation between Luke and Kylo, and although I do kind of enjoy the aspect of Luke kind of teaching Kylo one final lesson before he died, I don't know, I just kind of feel like there was lacking in lightsaber battles. I think it was cool that we saw them fighting the Praetorian Guards like that. That was really cool when Rey and Kylo teamed up, and although it was temporary, I thought it was really cool, but I could have used an actual lightsaber duel, so we'll definitely see him in episode 9 though. They're definitely going to come back for episode 9. Next one is J. Francisco. He says, how are Luke and Maz Kanata connected? I don't know if Luke and Maz are even connected. They might have met at some point. I'm sure they met they met at some point. And I'm sure there'll be a book down the line where Luke had to help out Han Solo after Return of the Jedi at some point, and then they come across Maz, and maybe that's how Han and Maz met. I'm sure they knew each other for a very long time, but I honestly don't think there is a connection between Luke and Maz. There's a deleted scene for The Force Awakens that shows Maz using the Force, so there's belief that she's actually a Jedi, or maybe not much of a Jedi, but she at least has the ability to use the Force. So maybe at some point Luke went to her for some guidance, or maybe she learned her Force abilities from Luke. I don't know, it'd be pretty interesting to hear either one of those ways, but I don't really think they are personally connected in my opinion. Oh, I forgot, I actually wanted to start wearing my Jedi medallion more, if you guys can see that. So, shout out to Narcoleptic Harambe. I think that was his name who got it for me, so thank you, sir, I appreciate it very much. I know we're having a P.O. box soon, so I'm actually gonna be doing like, you know, fan unboxings and stuff like that, so I'm excited. Get ready, think of some good ideas. Next one is from JS, and he says, rank these droids, R2, C-3PO, BB-8, or K-2SO. Let's see. So right away, my favorite is definitely still R2. R2 is just a special place in my heart. He just has to be there. You know, in my opinion, he's number one. Next, I put K2. I just like K2's like sarcastic personality. I think he and I would get along really well. Then BB-8, and then C-3PO. Next question is from Legend Skull 367, and the question is, what is your favorite lightsaber? So for me, I'm a Makashi-like fighter. If you guys watch my lightsaber tournaments, which I'm gonna be having more coming out when it gets warmer outside, I am a Makashi-like fighter. So I prefer a curved hilt. It kind of allows me to do more stuff for my Makashi stance. And so I prefer that. So that's why Count Dooku's would be my personal favorite lightsaber. Next question is JS again. He says, how old should your child be when you show them Star Wars? Right out of the womb, you know, day one. Day one, it's a little baby, can't open its eyes yet. Day one. I'll take it out of the nursery, I'm just gonna show it Star Wars. It's gonna become a Star Wars fan. Best believe it. Next one is from Alexander Wiest, and he says, what was your first Star Wars movie, and what was the order you saw all of them in? Okay, so for me, the first, very first Star Wars movie, if I dig deep in my brain, my cranium, I think it was Return of the Jedi. I remember one of my very first memories of anything Star Wars was I was at my friend's house and he and I were like playing with like action figures, something like that. And I think we were playing with like Marvel action figures, these massive action figures. And I think I was like 4 or 5. And there was a movie on TV, and there was this big monster coming out from this like dungeon thing, going after this guy in all dressed in black. And of course, that is the scene with the Rancor in Episode 6. So yeah, Return of the Jedi was technically the first thing I saw. Now, of course, I was more focused on my action figures and that story going on, that I didn't really watch the movie itself. So as far as like, what was my first movie that I watched it the entirety first? I think actually Phantom Menace was my very first movie that I actually watched in its entirety. But I wasn't a massive fan at the time. I was still young. I didn't really care. There was other stuff in my life that I preferred more. I was always more of a dinosaur guy. You know, like Jurassic Park, man. I love those movies. It was only when Revenge of the Sith came out did my love for Star Wars just burn with the intensity of 1,000 suns. I like that term. So Revenge of the Sith came out, I went to go watch it. I became a massive fan. I bought episode 1 and 2. Episode 3 wasn't out on DVD yet because it was still in theaters. And then I bought the original trilogy as well. And I just watched all of those. So technically I watched the first one, then I watched the third one. Then I went back, watched the first, second, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And then I went back to the theaters and saw the third one again. Because it was just that good. So there you go, guys. That's how I watched the Star Wars films. Next one is from a longtime fan of mine named Melody Claire. And she says, do you think we should have seen more of Luke in the new trilogy? Yes. If I were to change any aspect out of the entire sequel trilogy, the one thing I would change out of this entire trilogy, I would include Luke. Luke would have showed up at the end of episode 7 and not just like a, what are you doing on my island? He would have actually showed up more towards the middle of the film and was the one to catch the lightsaber when Kylo and Rey would get in a fight. But I think that's what a lot of people don't like about The Last Jedi, is because they feel that Luke was mishandled. And although in a way I am okay with it, I'm also kind of not really happy with it either. So I feel like that could have been done better. Next question is from Elijah Hampton, and he says, did you enjoy the animated Star Wars Clone Wars show? So here's the thing, I never finished the Clone Wars show. I watched a couple episodes, but I never watched it in its entirety. I always wanted to, I just never really got a chance to, and whenever I like have free time, I'm working on something else, so I just don't get a chance to do it. Now, one of the big reasons for this is because when I was in high school, that was the exact same time that Clone Wars was airing. And so in high school, I was kind of dealing with other stuff. I was dealing with grades, you know, I was dealing with keeping my social life. You know, I was dealing with all the ladies, because, you know, I'm a ladies' man, so that's just how it goes. And there was a lot of other stuff going on in my life. I just kind of pushed everything I really liked aside. And so now I can enjoy it, but I just haven't got a chance to. But one day I'll do it. It's coming. I'll get there. Next question is from Darth Something. He's one of the leaders of the Net Alliance Amino. If you guys want to join the Net Alliance Amino, it's essentially Facebook for Star Wars and Net Alliance fans. All you have to do is download the Amino app, look up the Net Alliance Amino, and then just join, and you can talk to me, you can talk to a bunch of other fans, and you guys can just have a fun time. So do it. So Darth Something asks, why are you so awesome? Well, shucks, you know, I just am, you know, this is how it goes. Oh. Actually, I look pretty legit. I'm gonna keep my hat like this the rest of the video. Next question is from Zerjo, and he says, do you think Snoke died too quick? Cause I did. Yeah, I appreciate the red herring twist. I thought it was pretty interesting. My hair, like my curls is like flipping out, doing his own thing, but you know what? I don't leave him there. That's just how I roll. So I appreciate the red herring twist in a way, but I don't appreciate the mishandling of Snoke's character. He was introduced as this big bad, the next Palpatine, and then he's instantly just gone. And the thing is, being Star Wars, there's going to be a book or a comic book at some point that's going to explain everything we want to know about him, but it's just not explained in the movie, so that's unfortunate. We got another Snoke question here. This one's from Playmore69. He says, do you think Snoke will be back in episode 9? If so, as a Force ghost or in physical form? Now, I actually mentioned this in a couple of my videos, so I don't think that Snoke is going to return technically, but he is. Now, you might be confused, so let me explain. So Snoke was a very powerful being, but I think that Snoke was just a puppet being controlled by the true puppet master somewhere deeper in space. The best example I can use is Darth Vitiate and Valkorion. Darth Vitiate was the evil emperor, essentially the Palpatine of the Old Republic. He got killed, and then we find out later that there's a guy named Valkorion deeper in space who is actually using Vitiate as a puppet. He can actually control his body. And I think that's something that's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a plot point in episode 9. Because if they're going to turn Kylo back to good, I do think they're going to. I think the only way to truly do that is to give Rey and Kylo a reason to join up again and to fight somebody. And if they're going to fight anyone, it's gonna have to be the strongest being we've ever seen so far in the Star Wars films. And so I think that this canonical Valkorion will show up in episode 9. So although the character of Snoke is dead and will not show up in episode 9, his puppet master will. So we'll see if that works out that way. Next question is from Alexander Wiest again, and he says, what is your real name? You wanna know my real name? Okay, I'll tell you. My real name is... Oh man, my camera stopped again. Well, I don't know what I missed, so I apologize. I'm just keep on moving though. Next question is Darth Porg, and he says, are you hyped for the Solo movie? I'm excited to see it, but I don't really care about it. You know, like, it's kind of like Rogue One for me. I was like, yeah, cool, Star Wars movie, cool. But I'm not like, oh, I have to see it or I'm gonna die. You know, it's not like Last Jedi or The Force Awakens type of excitement going into it. So here's the thing about the Solo movie, is I'm not super excited for it, but I think it's going to destroy expectations. I think that people are gonna go into this film thinking it's going to be just awful, and I think it's going to be really good. Not super excited for it, but it is Star Wars, and I am excited for it. Next question is from Zerka Bananas, and he says, Last Jedi spoilers, do you think Phasma is dead? No, I'm pretty sure she'll be in the next one. It's time for Phasma to actually do stuff in the movies, and I think that this wasn't her death. I think that Phasma has more to offer, and we haven't seen it yet, so I'm ready to see it in episode 9. You can quote me on that. Phasma shall return in episode 9. She's alive. I know it. And for our last question of the video, this one is from the FIFA King HD, and he says, what is your favorite quote from Star Wars? Oh man, there are so many awesome quotes from Star Wars. I don't know, there's so many. I can't just pick one, but if I have to pick one, there is one specifically one that has always just stuck with me through my entire life, and this might be because Revenge of the Sith was my first Star Wars movie, and so this line just sounded so good to me. I don't know. And although I could probably make like a top 100 quotes from Star Wars, when it comes down to it, one of my very favorite ones, and I don't know if this is my actual favorite one, but this is the one that pops in my mind when people ask me, it's the one where Count Dooku confronts Obi-Wan and Anakin on the Bridge of the Invisible Hand in episode 3. Dooku walks in, he sees these two super powerful Jedi standing there, and he just is so cocky and it's just so good. And when he says, he goes, your swords, please. We don't want to make a mess of things in front of the Chancellor. Like, here's the thing. That quote isn't that known. It isn't that popular, but I love it. I just think it just completely just grabs Count Dooku's character, and in just one line, you just get how Dooku is. You get that overconfident, cocky attitude that Dooku has, and I just think that embodies him so well. So I don't know, I always just love that quote. It might be a little out of the blue, but just my personal favorite quote. So there you go guys, that is another AskNet. If you guys want to be featured in the next AskNet, make sure to leave your questions in the comments below. If I use your question in a future video, and chances are, if it's good enough, I probably will, then I will feature you and your question in the next AskNet. But that's it for now guys, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and until next time guys, I'll catch you later. Peace.